Hello class, welcome back. So let's start to create this sidebar that you see right here. So in the actual Reddit, the sidebar is different. Every time you refresh, you get a different set of subreddits. So sometimes you get subreddits about news, like we see here, sometimes about sports, and but obviously we don't have topics for our subreddits. So what we can do is we can do top subreddits and fetch the top 5 subreddits ranked by the number of posts. And when you go to a specific one, you just see information about that subreddit. So let's do that. So let's go back to VS Code. Let's actually go to the misc.ts, so the miscellaneous routes. And let's scroll to the bottom. So here let's create a new route. And actually I got sick of this typing this, so I just created a new snippet and it does this. Voila. You don't have this snippet, but actually, let me know in the comment section if you want me to do a video about the custom snippets that I have that make my workflow much faster. All right, so here I'll say top subs, and in the try catch block, so we're gonna fetch the subs, like I said, ranked by number of posts. But the problem with this query is kind of like slightly complex. So I'm gonna use something different than using the submodel itself. I'm actually gonna use the query builder. So go back to the documentation of TypeORM. You'll see here using Query Builder, it shows you all the different tools that you can use with the Query Builder to construct a SQL query that is exactly how you want it. And by the way, if you're not familiar very well with SQL, I don't recommend using this before understanding how SQL works. Otherwise, it's going to be super complicated and you'll be super confused. Anyway, so let's go back. Let me copy the query from off screen so that we know what we're writing. So let me paste it here. So this is the query that I want to run. So what it does is it selects the title name, and don't worry too much about this. It just concatenates the image URL of the sub and the number of posts, and it joins the post table, and then it orders them by the number of posts, and it limits to 5 to get the top 5 ones. So let's fetch this with the query builder. So here let's say const subs equals wait. We'll say get connection and import that from TypeORM, and we'll concatenate.create query builder chain.select, and we're going to select. So actually before I write select, I'm going to write .from, and we're going to select from. You can pass it the name of the table, but you can also pass it the entity model itself. So say sub, import that from the entities directory, and here I'm going to give it an alias of s, and I'm going to go back to the select. So we're going to select a bunch of things. So we have s.title. So the title of the sub, I'm going to say s.name for the name of the sub, and the image URL. I'm actually going to create this in its own expression to not like have this really long. So I'm going to actually just copy this over here. You're probably going to have to write it. So let's say const, I'm going to call this image URL expression, or just exp equals, and I'm going to paste that. So what coalesce does is it checks if it has a image URL. If the sub has an image URL, it's going to get it and concatenate to the base URL of our server, and also the images directory. And then otherwise, if it doesn't have it, it's just going to put the Gravatar default image, and then it gets it as the image URL. And actually, I just realized this needs to be fetched from the environment. So we can actually, here, instead of saying http localhost 5000, we can concatenate process.env.base URL. So now we can add this here, actually make these into backticks and add this there, actually concatenate it. Actually, maybe for it to make more sense, let's remove this as image URL from there and paste it here. It makes more sense to see it here. And this needs to be surrounded with double quotes because it has some caps in it. Now we need to also select the count of p.id, which is the posts, as, and do double quotes post count, like that. So that's our select statement. Now we're going to say .left join, and we're going to join the post table. So we're going to join the entity post. So import that. Let's give it an alias p, and let's give the join statement will be, let's do backticks and say we're going to join on s.name. Actually, we don't need double quotes here, s.name, where s.name equals post dot, and here we need quotes because this has caps. Let's do sub name like that, and we need to add a group statement because we have some aggregate fields. So group by, and we're actually just going to group by these three. I'm gonna paste this here and edit it. So s.title, s.name, and image URL like that. And we're gonna say order by, so dot order by. We need to actually put it in double quotes. So backticks, double quotes, post count, and then do close that. And the order will be in a descending order. Now let's say dot limit 5. I'll say dot execute, which will execute it and get us the results. And the results will be an array of objects. And we're just going to return that array. So we'll say return res.json subs. If we get an error, let's just return the regular res.status 500.json error, something went wrong. Let's add that route here to the router. So router.get, this will be to /top-subs, and it will be the top subs handler. We don't need to be authenticated to get this. All right, save, and let's look at it in Postman. So we don't need to log in, so we can go, let's go to the Reddit miscellaneous, and I already have it added here. So /misc/top-subs, that's a get request, and send it. Okay, it's a TS thing. So let's omit the request because it's not being used. So put underscore there. So let's go back now and send this request. There we go. So we get everything funny. The funny sub has 7 posts, and the title, not the title, the one-liners, and then down to there's this Ready Player one that has 0. And these are 5. I believe there's 6 in this data set that we have. Okay, there's a problem with the URL. This is undefined. It shouldn't be undefined. Let's check why that's the case. Let's check the .env. Oh, it's app URL, not base URL. I don't know where I got base URL from. Okay, let's test it now. Run it again. All right, so we get the gravatar for these ones because they don't have images, and this one has localhost 5000 images, and if we click on that, we indeed get this image. Cool. So that's working. Let's now create the sidebar on the actual client side. Let me close Postman. We don't need it anymore. So let's go in our Explorer. Let's go to the client, source, pages, and here index. So let's create the sidebar here. So obviously I already looked at the Reddit one, and I got the dimensions and stylings. So here there would be a surrounding div with a margin left 6. With a width of 80, w-80, and inside of that we're gonna have a .bg white, not rounded because it is rounded. And here let's say let's give it some padding, and I'm gonna give this a border -b-2 to give it some border on the bottom. And here we'll have that title on the top, so this will be a paragraph .text lg, and let's give it a font of semi-bold and give it text center. And this will say top communities. And right after this div, we'll do a div here. And this is where we loop through the subs and we show them. But let's actually fetch them first. And that's easy. We just go here and we say const, and we get data, and we call it subs, or maybe top subs equals, and we just say use swr, and we pass it /misc/top-subs. Simple as that. And here let's loop through them. So let's do an expression and say top subs dot, actually this can be null at the beginning, so let's do question mark dot map sub. We can give it the type of sub even though it doesn't have all the fields. So let's do our arrow function. Actually we need to import this. This needs to be in like double parentheses like that. And let's import this from types. And here we'll say, we'll do our div, and let's give it a key of sub.name because that's unique. And let's give it some styling, so class name. Let's give it flex, so stuff goes to right to left or left to right. So let's say items center, and let's give it some padding on the right and left, so px4. And top and bottom, give it a bit less padding, so py2. And give it text XS, so the text is small in there, or extra small. And give it some border on the bottom, so border B. And here first thing will be, if we look on Reddit, you see the image and it's rounded, and then there's like r/whatever that subreddit is. So let's go here. So we need to get the image from next Actually, did it get the correct one? No, I didn't import anything. So I'm just going to import it manually. So let's import from next/image, image. And we don't need these React hooks anymore. We don't need the link and Axios. So remove those imports. And post, apparently we don't need it anymore. And fragment is complaining. Oh, okay, because there's like a problem here. We need to finish writing this. All right, so the image will have a source of sub.image URL. Let's give it an alternative tag of just sub maybe. I don't know, I keep tabbing over. Let's give it a width. So I want to give it a width of W. For example, in Tailwind, that will be like W-6. So this will be 6 times 16 divided by 4. And same for height. So I'm going to duplicate that and say height there. Height. Actually, we can't give this a class name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap it in a div. So I'm going to cut that and wrap it in a div that says rounded, that has the class rounded full. Tab that and paste that. Actually, let's look at what this looks like. So save this. Okay, it's not formatting. Okay, I need to close the parentheses here. All right, save that. And let's look at our console. No errors. Cool. Let's go to local host 3000. All right, cool. So we get the images, but they're not rounded. Let's check. Okay, this has rounded full. But let's give it overflow hidden. Overflow hidden. Yeah, there we go. So it trims the excess overflow of the stuff that's contained inside of it. So let's go back. So let's just give this div overflow hidden. And now we can carry on. So next to the image, there'll be a link to the subreddit. So let's do link. Import that from next. And this will have an href of, let's do an expression. So backticks /r/ and then concatenate sub.name. Name, close that, and inside of there we're gonna do an anchor tag with a class of font bold and give it, actually I can't use colon I think, so let's remove this href tag and go here and say when this is hovered, let's give it a cursor pointer, and inside of here this will say /r/ and we'll concatenate sub.name as well, and right across it, so after the link we'll say p.ml auto, so it floats to the right, and we'll say .font medium, and this will say sub.post count. Okay, all right, so post count does not exist on the type sub, so we can add that. So let's go to our types, and here we can say post count, and this is like optional, it might not be there, so this is a number. So save. All right, so the error is now gone. So let's save and let's take a look at it. All right, that looks very strange. Okay, why is that the case? Okay, because the link and the paragraph should not be inside of that div, should be right next to it. All right, so put those outside and save. Okay, that looks much better. Let's put some margin as well on the left of this. And I just realized this needs to be a link as well. When we click on the image, it should take us to the subreddit. So let's go here, let's give this surrounding div margin right of 2, and let's wrap this image in the same link as this. So I'm just going to copy this opening tag and close this here, say like that, and paste the link and save. All right, that looks much better. So we get the number of posts and we get the name of the sub, but this is a link, but actually, oh yeah, let's give it a cursor pointer as well, so it feels like a link. So here's a cursor pointer. Save. All right, cool. So it's a cursor pointer, and now we click on it, we go to everything funny. Great. So now let's create the sidebar inside of the sub page itself. So let's close these and let's open sub.tsx, and let's go down here. I know we're gonna need this sidebar in a different page, I think in the post page, so I'm gonna put it in its own component. So here I'll say sidebar. And obviously the sidebar needs to have access to the sub itself. So we'll say sub equals sub because we have that around, where is it? Yes, sub, we have that. We're fetching this up here. So let's create that. Let's import it and then create it. So we'll import from back 1 level, actually back 2 levels to components / and we'll name it sidebar as well, sidebar, and name this sidebar. Let's go ahead and create that. So inside components, we'll create a new file, sidebar.tsx. tsx. So here's the underscore RFC tab. Let me close that. And here, this is a bit similar to the homepage one with some differences. So this will have a class name of ML6 and W-A80. And here we'll have a .bg, bg white, .rounded. But here, this will have a padding of 3 as well. But this will have a background of blue. So if we take a look, for example, go to Reddit, let's go to this one, Svelte.js. It has this top section that says about, and it has the color of the subreddit. But we haven't implemented colors of specific Reddits, so we're going to have a global blue color, the same as we have as this blue. Well, it's errored out, but this blue right here. So let's do that. So let's go back here. So that's blue 500, so let's say bg blue dash 500 dot rounded top. So rounded T. Okay, what is that? Oh, I forgot to add a dot here. So tap that. And here we'll have a paragraph dot font semi bold dot text dash white. Tab that. And this will say about community. And under this div, we'll have a div with a padding of 3. And here we'll put this these pieces of information, how many members and how many are online, which are like obviously hard coded. So you can like implement that if you want, but I'm just gonna give you like the UI portion of it. So say p dot margin bottom 3, and this will be the description of the sub. So I'll say text dash md and concatenate the sub dot description. I just realized I didn't get it from the prop. So here in the props, we get sub, and let's give this some type. So here the props will get a sub of type sub and import that from the types. So let's go back here, let's create a div with a class of flex and a class of margin bottom 3 and text sm and font medium. Tab that, and here we'll have 2 divs that are taking like half of the width. So this will be div, and let's give it a class name of width dash 1/2. I didn't want to do like dot w dash 1/2 because the slash does something in Emmet, so it messes with it. And if I do this, it just actually creates, I don't even know what the slash does actually. I think it just creates another component under it that is this. Oh yeah, it just creates sibling elements. So if you do like dash m or .m slash .m, it just creates like 2 sibling elements. Interesting. But yeah, if you have like a slash in your class name, you can't use Emmet, it just messes with it. So here I'll have a paragraph that says, say 5.2k or something. And then this will say, so this is the number of members. So this is members. So we can like duplicate this, and this will be the members that are online. So let's say 150 are online, and we'll say here online. Let's take a look at it. So we go back to our app, we refresh, /r/funny, there we go. We get the description of funny, which is actually funny. And we get how many members have joined and how many are online, obviously hard coded like I said. So we have as well, oh yeah, here, so create post, this button, which is only there when you're authenticated and then when the sub was created. So let's go back. So after this div here, we'll put a paragraph with a class of, let's give it some margin on the top and bottom, so my3. And here we'll have a icon, and here we'll use a font awesome icon. So i.fas.fa -birthday-cake. Now I want some cake. Dot, let's give it some margin on the right, so mr-2. Tab that, and right next to it we're gonna say created, and here we'll do the date, but we need to format it with day.js. So we'll say day.js and import that and pass it the sub.created at, and here we'll say .format, and we'll format it. We'll have the day, so just D with the as the name of the day, and that's the name of the month, and Y 4 times Y like that. Actually no, this is not the name of the day, this is just the number. All right, and here we need to put that create post button, but we need to check if the user is authenticated. So we need to import authenticated from the use auth state. Let's separate these here, and let's say import from back one level context /auth and import use auth state. So here at the top, we're gonna concatenate authenticated from use auth state. So here we're going to use that. Let's do an expression and say if authenticated. So authenticated, and let's just put a link. So link, and this will go to href and do an expression backticks /r slash the, so it's the sub.name slash submit. Of course, this page doesn't exist yet, but we'll create it soon. So here we'll have an anchor tag with a class of w-full to take the full width. I should remove this anchor, this href, and let's give this blue button because it's a blue button. And let's give it text sm, and let's give it some padding on the top and bottom, so py1. And inside of there, it's gonna say create post. Actually, import link. All right, so save. Let's take a look at it. Refresh. Actually, we don't need to refresh, but whatever. So created 7th of November 2020. That's cool. We don't see that button because I'm not logged in. So let me log in. John 1 through 6. Log in. Actually, the login redirected me to the home page, which it shouldn't do that. The login should just redirect back to where we were. So that's something that we need to fix. So where was I? So that was I was in the login page. So let's go login. And why am I scrolling all the way down? It's right here. So here, after we log in, we don't just push the home page. We can say router dot back and call that and save. So now let's go back. Let's actually test it. So I'm going to log out and I'm going to go to React.js, for example, go to login and log in. And now it should redirect me back to React.js. Lovely. And now I'm back in React.js. So that makes more sense. And that's like a pattern that users are used to. So there you go. So create post button. Obviously, if I click it, I get 404 because we haven't created yet. All right. So that's it for the sidebar. I'm going to keep this one short. And in the next one, we're going to do something, which I don't know yet. So we'll see what we're going to do. Again, please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.